everyone, I'm Kariba Divine, and welcome to 12 News Weekend. Every week, we take a look back at some of the best stories from our 12 News journalists. On today's show, we're diving into Lake Mead to reveal the history hiding beneath the surface. And then we have a special night at Perry High School as an NBA champ returns to be honored in front of his hometown crowd. But first, the dumpling craze dazzling the world is coming to the desert. Trent Mai gives us a sneak preview of one of the most anticipated restaurants.
It's all the rage on social media.
For lunch today, we're having Din Tai Fung.
It's a must-get.
It is so good.
Din Tai Fung, more than just a restaurant, it's a brand with a loyal following that prides itself on tradition, family, and food, serving authentic Taiwanese cuisine.
We are extremely excited to be here. We can't wait for the doors to open.
John Ham is the executive kitchen manager at Din Tai Fung in Scottsdale, the first in Arizona.
This one is unique to Arizona's natural beauty and its spirits. As you can tell from the color scheme, the design, the lighting, it really draws from that and combines it with our traditional desire to keep a beautiful and elegant restaurant.
But the star of the show, their xiao long bao, or soup dumpling. And it's no ordinary dumpling. Each one is meticulously handcrafted, starting with the wrappers.
They have to be an exact round shape, first of all, and they need to be thin around the edges but thicker in the middle.
Then comes the filling.
This part is also very important. Each piece is weighed exactly to 21 grams.
And finally, the folding.
We put exactly 18 folds onto each xiaolong bao. And that completes what we consider our golden ratio of 18 folds and 21 grams for each xiaolong bao.
Even the room has to be the right temperature.
Humidity is important. It's going to keep our dough, nice and soft and prevent it from drying out.
The dumplings are then steamed and rotated for about 3 minutes.
Because there is so much calculation and so much thought and care put into every single dumpling.
Yes.
It's almost like the way your mom would make it.
Right, yeah. And I think that's a big part of our culture here too, is still family owned, still family operated. Yeah. Those traditions, this recipe is originally created by our original creator.
In 1958, Bing Yi Yang and his wife opened a cooking oil store in Taipei, Taiwan, and named it Din Tai Fung. In 1972, they turned half their shop into making soup dumplings, which became so popular, Yang turned his entire store into a full-fledged restaurant. Today, there are more than 165 restaurants in 13 countries, earning the coveted Michelin star 5 times.
It looks very simple, but there's so many little details that are required for it to be as consistent as we are, and we're selling 10,000 pieces a day, right?
Yeah.
For it to be consistent on every single piece, it really requires this attention to detail.
Chef Ham tried teaching me how to roll.
Almost there.
Almost.
And wrap.
This dumpling is not happening.
Not once, but twice.
Oh, you know what?
You think you're getting
I
it a
think
little
I'm
bit?
getting it.
It's a skill that can take up to 3 months to learn. There's even an art to eating the soup dumpling.
We put a hole into it so you could get that soup out. You can see that
Wow,
soup.
look at that.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you just
And then
put
you
the
just
whole
put
thing in your
the rest
mouth.
of it in your mouth. It is a little hot.
It's like a pillow.
Perfect. Perfect
It's
size.
so moist,
Moist.
so delicious.
It's rich, and it has great mouthfeel. It's light, makes you want another one.
Yes, and another one, and another one. What do you want people to leave with?
We want them to leave with definitely that memorable experience, just feeling like, wow, like this is something unique. This is something special. I want to come back here. I want my friends to come here. I want to bring my family here, And that's something that to me is priceless.
It lies deep beneath the surface of a desert lake. Once the most advanced military aircraft in the sky, responsible for delivering the deadliest weapon ever unleashed on mankind. What is it? How did it get here? We're taking a dive back in time. We're on Lake Mead.
This is the breathing loop.
Joel Silverstein is the owner of Tech Diving Limited, a professional diver. He'll lead the operation.
It is one of the most remote sites in Lake Mead.
His son Jonah is running the boat. and Ryan Sawyer will stay topside. We ready our gear. The B-29 was America's most advanced bomber at the end of World War II. The Enola Gay, which dropped the atomic bomb on Hiroshima, was a B-29. In 1948, this particular plane was doing experiments for missile guidance systems. The pilots, though, came in too low over Lake Mead. They misjudged their altitude. They hit the water, and they sank. The crew survived, but the plane has been sitting on the bottom now for almost 80 years.
All right, let's go down and see this big plane.
We splash and follow a guide rope almost 100 feet down in the murky, cold water. Suddenly, the plane comes into view. It's huge. We swim down the long fuselage, the plane's aluminum still gleaming. We see a propeller twisted by the impact of the crash. I'm dwarfed next to it. And then we look inside the open cockpit. You can see the wheel, the seats, even remnants of a parachute. Everything just as it was back in 1948.
When you look into that cockpit, it's almost like you're looking back in time in a way, don't you think?
Well, that's the whole thing about shipwrecks and plane wrecks, is that they capture that final moment in time when they went down. So all the controls are in exactly the same spot when this thing crashed. It holds that final piece of time when it went down.
It's way bigger than you think it is. You know, you go, you see the airplanes in the sky, you see them at air shows, but then when you get to dive it and you're in this three-dimensional space, this thing's massive.
And you can see why they named it a historic site, right?
Yeah, it's, I mean, the plane being here in this lake, it's a national treasure. It's one of the last B-29s that's intact. This is one of the wrecks left over from World War II. But to have a plane, that's really unique. And so this is a world-class dive.
And coming up, the highway that defined America's love of the road trip. Route 66 is turning 100, and we're looking at how close it came to disappearing forever.
Neon signs buzzing, two-lane highways stretching to the horizon, and towns that feel frozen in time. Route 66 isn't just a road, it's a feeling.
Route 66 symbolized the freedom, the spirit of adventure that we all like to imagine ourselves, all like to think that that's who we are.
For Arizona author and travel writer Roger Naylor, his interest started 20-some years ago with an unplanned stop.
Only because I was hungry. And I turned off the interstate in a little town called Seligman, Arizona. Tuesday afternoon, there are 4 tour buses parked on Main Street. A tour group from Japan, a tour group from Germany. Everybody's standing out, pouring into this little barber shop, and the ones that can't get in are standing outside taking photos. I'm going, man, how good is this barber?
That barber was Angel Delgadillo, the man who refused to let Route 66 die.
Organized a group of people in 1987, got together and formed the historic Route 66 Association of Arizona, the very first of its kind. One person really did change the world.
The road itself was born in 1926, more than 2,400 miles of American ambition connecting Chicago to the California coast.
It was meant to increase the flow of commerce from east to west, and it was also meant to be an economic engine for those small towns. That's why it has that sort of meandering diagonal route, because it links all those little communities.
After World War II, the road reached its golden age, shaping everything we know about the American road trip.
People needed more places to eat, so cafes, diners began opening up. And of course, how do you attract people that are just driving by? Well, a big old neon sign works just great.
But eventually, the rise of the interstate highway system changed everything, bypassing main streets across America.
The interstates are built for speed and efficiency. It's just movement. You don't really see much of the country, so you miss all those little quirky things. You miss the roadside attractions, you miss the mom and pop diners.
Now, as Route 66 turns 100, travelers are slowing down again.
We want the tactile, we want the real experience, we want the authentic experience, and there's something that's just so charming and innocent. You want those kind of memories. Road trip memories last forever.
Naylor's book, Arizona Route 66 Road Trip, is a guide for travelers and a boost for the mom and pop businesses that line the Mother Road. It highlights more than 110 restaurants, 90 attractions, and 40 places to stay across Arizona, which boasts the longest preserved stretch of the original Mother Road, nearly 400 miles from Lupton to Oatman.
You know, I've been interviewing people and talking to Route 66 travelers for a quarter of a century now, and I always ask, you know, you've gone from Chicago to LA, what's one of your favorite memories? What place do you remember? 60 to 70% will say Oatman. You know, they'll remember that. Well, because of the burros. This is the town kind of run by wild burros.
Whether it's the burros, a good burger, or a neon sign, you can still find traces of Route 66 100 years later.
It makes you feel younger. It connects you. It gives you that sense that, you know, there's still hope, there's still optimism, and more than anything, it reminds you that life really doesn't have to be so complicated.
Kyle Simchuk, 12 News.
When Jaylen Williams was walking the halls of Perry High School as a student, he could not have imagined that he would become an NBA champion and have his jersey retired at his old stomping grounds in the same calendar year.
To come back now and obviously have the success I'm having in the NBA, it just, when you're that young playing, like, it doesn't even seem, I wouldn't say feasible, but you don't really know if that'll ever happen. It kind of just seems like a dream, and now to come back and it be a reality is surreal.
It was standing room only, and fans showed up an hour early for the J-Dub shirts, eager to celebrate a beloved member of Puma Nation.
To see him develop himself into the player he is today, it's wonderful.
Williams' Oklahoma City Thunder teammates making a special appearance in Gilbert as the 2019 graduate becomes the first Perry athlete to have his jersey retired.
For them to want to do that and support me is really cool.
He might not have a state championship on his resume, but Williams is an NBA All-Star, champion, and he was the runner-up for Rookie of the Year in 2022.
Jaylen has tremendous belief in himself, and even when others did not believe in him, Jaylen always believed in himself, and he plays with that confidence. He plays with that swagger.
Now his legacy is cemented at his alma mater in Arizona, and he's a role model for young athletes in his hometown and beyond.
As long as you're playing hard, enjoying what you're doing, and focusing on what you're doing, you can be successful in whatever you're doing.
In Gilbert, Lena Washington, 12 Sports.
The Diamondbacks didn't think there was any way they'd be able to bring back both Zach Gallen and Merrill Kelly. Gallen and Kelly had accepted their fates as well. The team was strapped for cash, and the pitchers wanted to maximize free agency. But a change of heart on both sides changed everything. Like a backdoor breaking ball, this sight at spring training is catching everyone off guard. The D-backs running it back with Merrill Kelly and Zach Gallen, an unlikely outcome.
Going in the offseason, we both kind of knew most likely it would only be one of us.
Gallen thought he'd be the odd man out. Kelly signed first. Gallen was weighing intriguing options.
We did have multi-year offers out there, which was nice from the security standpoint.
It was security against familiarity, a decision Kelly had faced months prior.
San Diego had a pretty good offer on the table that was a 3-year guarantee.
Both pitchers were pitching their case, emphasizing their free agency freedom.
We were very vocal when we talked to Hayes and in the front office that the hometown discount wasn't necessarily on the table.
In the end, a cutthroat business decision became something deeper.
I've always been pretty outspoken on the fact that I enjoy being here. I like being here. I take pride in being a D-back for as long as I can.
The allure of Arizona.
There's something about growing up here from a adult standpoint and then also from a baseball standpoint.
Gallen no longer fretting financials.
As players, we're fortunate enough to make the amount of money we do already. So I think getting greedy in that sense was kind of silly.
Kelly says the sidewinding path always had the same destination.
I think everyone knew at the end of the day that our heart was here, and this was team number one for sure.
Kelly's locked in as the D-backs opening day starter, and Gallen will slot in somewhere behind him. Torey Lovello said today he'll have to slow play Gallen at the start of spring. He's thrown 5 bullpens this year, but none of them in front of the D-back staff. At Salt River Fields, Jake Garcia, 12 Sports.
Arizona needs club kids, and club kids need you. At Boys and Girls Clubs of the Valley, with support from State Farm, Valley Toyota dealers, and Semper Fi Heating and Cooling, we're helping shape brighter futures for Arizona's youth through education, mentorship, and opportunity.
They say that a parent's work is never done. Most of us go through life never thinking about having to go through something like this. The unbearable, bring you to your knees kind of pain that only comes with having to bury your child.
And I think they owe us an apology.
For Cindy Carpenter and her husband, that pain is real and raw. 11 weeks ago, they had to bury their daughter Chelsea, cancer taking her at just 33.
It's past anger. I don't know if it's anger. I'm mad, I'm hurt, I'm heartbroken, I'm everything.
Making their pain even worse, they were told they wouldn't be able to bury their daughter in the traditional Jewish manner.
So the ritual of Jewish burial includes 3 parts. Part 1 is the lowering of the casket. Part 2 includes the covering of the casket by the people attending the funeral. Part 3 is the ultimate covering, sometimes by the staff in the cemetery and sometimes by people who volunteer to stay there to complete that part.
While going through the worst 24 hours of their lives, making funeral plans for Chelsea, the Carpenters decided to purchase plots for their entire family.
We bought 5 plots for both of our daughters, our one daughter's husband, our son-in-law, and then Jim and I. We spent $50,000 that day.
Before they signed the contract, they were told that Paradise Memorial Gardens, which had recently been purchased by Messenger Funeral Homes, would no longer allow traditional Jewish burials. But Chelsea's funeral was scheduled for the next morning.
But we chose that because it was a beautiful place for our child to rest. It was a beautiful place. So would I choose someplace else knowing what I now know? I probably would have made another choice.
Rabbi Pinchas Halush of Congregation Beth Tefillah couldn't believe it.
Never. And I've done hundreds of funerals. I've officiated at hundreds of funerals here in the Valley, many cemeteries. I am going tomorrow to Los Angeles to officiate a funeral, also in a large cemetery. And I've officiated again in many funerals across the country too. And this has never happened to me.
No proper Jewish burial in a cemetery with a special section reserved for Jewish people? The rabbi called a former congregant, a lawyer, and within hours, the cemetery relented. The weeks went by, and slowly the Carpenters began the long process of healing and acceptance. But then on January 31st, just 11 weeks later, their second daughter, Courtney, passed. How could they go on, plan another funeral, less than 3 months after they buried their first daughter? How could it be? But once again, they found themselves begging the cemetery to allow them to bury their daughter according to Jewish law.
Not only did I have to deal with burying 2 children in such a short amount of time for very different reasons, but they turned the knife. They turned the knife on me. And I think they owe us an apology. I don't know how you can make something right that didn't include a complete Jewish burial.
I reached out to Paradise Memorial Gardens and received this statement. We recognize that some of our recent safety policies do not fully align with certain religious traditions. However, these policies were implemented after careful consideration and reflect our responsibility to ensure the safety of all attendees on site at Paradise Memorial Gardens. No matter how hard the Carpenters and their rabbi fought, this time there would be no lowering of the coffin. Her parents, deprived of being able to see their daughter, finally at rest after a proper Jewish burial.
So we believe that every single human being has a combination of body and soul. The body and the soul work together in this lifetime to achieve the mission that they were sent to achieve in this world. When the soul leaves the body, it cannot rest fully until its counterpart is resting. And so we believe that the soul is hovering upon the grave, and only when it sees that the burial is completed, again, by lowering the casket, covering the casket fully, does the soul finally rest. So it is extremely important to fulfill that because it brings comfort to the soul, and knowing this, it also brings tremendous comfort to the family.
And for Cindy, who fought for her daughter Courtney for years because she had special needs, the fight isn't over.
What do you think she would say to you about this fight that you're fighting?
Courtney, go mom. Go mom, because I've done it all her life.
About 3 hours southwest of Phoenix, Arizona, sits the town of Los Algodones, Mexico. Its population is only about 5,000, but it packs a mighty punch when it comes to attracting U.S. citizens looking for affordable health care, specifically dental work and lower-cost prescriptions. Michelle and Mike are on their way into Los Algodones. They have friends who saved big getting caps done there.
Her price here was $14,000, and in the States it was something like $40,000.
And it's savings like that drew more than 1.3 million Americans to Mexico for medical, dental, or specialized care in 2025, according to the Border Report. 2026 could see that number rise as premiums for health coverage essentially doubled for the same care. In Los Algodones, also known as Molar City, getting cheaper prescriptions, that's also a major draw, whether it's for medical or cosmetic reasons.
I'm coming to get some Latisse, and generic Latisse is like $17 here. In the States, it's over $100.
But Dean Frederick Wondesford from the University of Arizona's College of Medicine says patients are being forced to weigh cost over confidence of care.
You're back in your home country. You really have no recourse because the procedure was not done in the U.S. So the person can be held in a very bad state when they come back, if they do have a complication.
While many Mexican doctors we spoke with say their facilities are state-of-the-art and they are trained at the same global standard. Chris Corte traveled from Kansas to get work done. We met him at the clinic Dental Solutions in Los Algodones, and he says this isn't just for those who are living without insurance.
I have a government dental plan, so even with my government dental plan and the cost of dental work, after insurance rates, it's still a substantial savings to come here.
Thanks everyone for watching, and a reminder, new episodes of 12 News Weekend premiere every Friday on 12 Plus. You can also watch past episodes on the app. All you have to do is download 12 Plus on your TV devices and you can watch for free. I'm Kariba Devine. Have a fantastic rest of your weekend.